In this video, we're going to see how Monster Hunter Wilds performs on AMD's most powerful iGPU to date. What I've got here is the new ROG Flow Z13, and this is powered by the AMD Ryzen AI MAX Plus 395. With this new APU, we have 16 Zen 5 cores and 32 threads, but the main claim to fame here is AMD's brand new iGPU, known as the Radeon 8060S. At the time of making this video, these are the most powerful integrated graphics that we've seen so far. We've got 40 compute units as opposed to their other high-end, let's say HX 370 with that 8090M, coming in with only 16 compute units. In fact, this 8060S can keep up with a laptop variant of the RTX 4070 or even a desktop variant of the RX 7600. So yeah, it's putting down some really nice performance here for integrated graphics. And ASUS has managed to put all this power inside of a 2-in-1, and I've actually just mainly been using this as a tablet. And just a heads up, ASUS does have a promotion going on right now where you can get Monster Hunter Wilds for free when you buy an eligible ROG product. I'll leave a link to the page, and if you scroll down a bit, this is going to be going on from February 28th to May 31st. If you buy the ROG Strix G16 or 18, the Strix Scar 16 or 18, or the Zephyrus G14 or G16, you can get Monster Hunter Wilds for free. And to redeem it, all you have to do is head over to Armory Crate on the device you purchased. You'll log in with your ASUS or your ROG account. And from there, you'll just need to submit the requested information and you can get that Monster Hunter Wilds key. So yeah, from February 28th to May 31st, this promotion is going on over at their website. Again, I'll leave a link in the description. And the screen on the Flow Z13 is actually 16 by 10, but since this is connected to an external monitor, I've got it at 16 by 9. It's a couple frame difference going from 1080 to 1200, but as you can see from Afterburner up in the top left-hand corner, we're not quite hitting 60 at that Ultra preset. I do think that the game needs some more optimizations. This is actually, I think, the third day the game's out at the time of making this video. So I do expect to see better performance on this iGPU in the future, but we do have a few more presets that we can use. Plus, we're not using frame gen right now, and I think that's going to be a big helper. I personally know that it'll be a big helper on iGPUs, even something as powerful as the 8060S at the time of release here. The Flow Z13 does have a couple different power profiles that we can use, and I'm actually in turbo mode right now, which will take us up to around 64 watts sustain. I think we got a boost up to around 74. In manual mode, we can actually go as high as 80 with a boost up to 93, which is going to give us higher clocks on the CPU and GPU. But it looks like we do need to take the settings down just a bit, and just to show you from options, we are at 1080. Then we'll take it from ultra to high. And with each one of these presets, it does add a little bit of resolution scale. In this case, since we're using an AMD chip, we've got FSR, and I did go back and try some XeSS. Doesn't seem to help out much more than FSR 3 is here on this AMD iGPU. But obviously at this high preset instead of ultra, we are getting a higher frame rate, feels a lot smoother. And using this with a good FreeSync display, even the built-in display on the Flow Z13, it's actually really smooth with this high preset. Okay, so that was high. Let's go to medium. Still not using frame generation. 1080, medium preset here. And I do notice when swapping these presets out, it takes Afterburner a couple seconds to kind of catch up. And there we go. Once it catches up, we're seeing mid 50s here with the frame rate. Medium preset, 1080. Every once in a while, you'll see it go over 60. And in enclosed spaces, it's actually over 60. Getting an average of around 68, but most of the time, you're doing some exploring here in the wide open. Got a lot of monsters around you, so this is about what we're going to see here at medium 1080. I've got one more preset that I'm going to test in just a second, but then I'll show you the settings that I've been using. And I'll tell you, with those settings, this game actually runs amazingly on this chipset. Alright, so let's go to the low preset, and this actually takes FSR to ultra performance. Personally, I just don't like the way it looks, and we could go to the lowest preset also and get more out of it. but I just really think it dumbs down the graphics too much. Even at 1080, it doesn't look great. Another thing we could do here is lower the resolution. 900p on a good display isn't too bad. In this case, it would be 1000p, so 1600 by 1000 would be 16 by 10. Looks pretty good on the built-in display, but I wanted to leave the resolution up at least 1080 or 1200 depending on what screen we're using. So the way I've been playing this on the Flow Z13 is at ultra settings with frame generation turned on. Now, as soon as you start this game up, the very first time it's going to ask you if you want to enable frame generation. If you're on a lower end system and it's pretty early for the game without newer patches, I would suggest doing it. It's definitely going to take that frame rate up. It'll help you out. Now, it really depends on what GPU and CPU you have. Some people do notice a lot of ghosting, like especially on something like the Steam Deck. I've been messing around with it quite a bit. Just doesn't run great over there, and I was originally going to make a video on it, but I'm going to wait for a couple more patches. I think they're going to fix some stuff here to get better performance on these lower end systems. What's happening over there is RAM optimizations. The Steam Deck is basically just running out of RAM. We've only got 16 gigs. But the Flow Z13 that I have here is the 32 gig model. They also make a 128 gig, but with this unit, I did dedicate 8 gigs to VRAM. If you were to pick up the 128 gig model, which, both of them do kind of cost a grip for what you're getting here, you can dedicate up to 96 gigs of RAM to the iGPU, which wouldn't make sense for gaming, but if you're running large language models, it could really help out. Kind of wish I had that model, but I mean, I've been getting by with the 32 gig. And I've made a few other videos about the Flow Z13. If you're interested in checking those out, I'll leave links in the description. I went through, tested at higher TDPs, lower TDPs with a bunch of different games, and it's definitely the most powerful iGPU on the market right now. But right now, with the correct settings, using frame gen, obviously, the game is playable on the Flow Z13, and it does feel really good. But that's going to wrap it up for this one. I'll definitely be coming back to this game on the Flow Z13 in a couple weeks once the developers release some patches for performance here. I've got a good feeling that we'd actually be able to run this at a locked 60 high settings with no frame gen once those optimizations are put out, but it's just a matter of time right now. And if you're interested in checking out more games running and benchmarks for the Flow Z13 with that Ryzen AI MAX Plus 395, I'll leave a link to the videos I created down below. But that's it for this one. Like always, thanks for watching.